Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarai, Avram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid. Sometimes we look at the things we have as assets instead of looking at them as losses, as Paul would later on teach us. Don't consider your riches, your possessions, as helpful to God. They may be a loss to God. May we learn from this lesson that has caused Israel, even to this day, great difficulty. She had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Avram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my handmaid. It's God's fault. We need to fix God's problem. God's the one who hasn't let me bear children. So let's help him out. Go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. I need to help God fulfill his promise. No, you don't. God's promise is sure. He will provide. He is Jehovah Jireh, which we'll find out in a few chapters. And Sarai, Avram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Avram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, so he's now 85, and gave her to her husband Avram to be his wife. So not just a maid anymore, but now a valid wife to Avram. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. So now Hagar didn't want to give up her child, essentially. She was glad to have a child and wasn't looking forward to this idea of it being Sarah's child. She wanted it to be her own child. So now Sarah was despised in the eyes of Hagar. And Sarai said unto Avram, My wrong be upon thee. Now she's blaming him. It was her idea, now she's blaming him. Sounds like our modern marriage problems aren't so modern. They had the same thing. My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. But Avram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. It was your idea in the first place. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. She wasn't very nice. This isn't good. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. Wow, what a hard command. And I believe God often gives us this same command. And we in our modern Christianity, Americanized and adulterated, have decided that we don't need to. We don't need to hear God's voice in this. Go and submit thyself. I know it's hard, but you've been committed to Abram. He's done nothing wrong. It's going to be hard for a bit, but don't worry, I'll provide. Well, it's not easy, the situation she found herself in, but the Lord would bless her. And God does bring blessing out of these difficult situations. Verse 10. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. What a beautiful name. This problem, Ishmael, is this conundrum for us because his name itself bears witness, and one, in the context of what happens when men try to help out God with his plans. It's not a good thing. And so we can say we don't want to produce any Ishmaels in our life. But yet, let's not be confused that God used Ishmael in the lives of his people. God uses them to bring correction. God uses them even at times to bring blessing. In God's goodness, he will use what affliction comes our way for your good and his glory. We don't understand it. We don't know what to do with it so often. Even the people, the descendants of Ishmael to this day, they find themselves in such a difficult situation, especially the believers among them. They are among the most oppressed in all of the land of the Bible, we could call it, the land of Israel. They're in the West Bank, or Palestine as some would call it. There are many believers there, Spirit-filled, Bible-believing Christians who are Arab descendants of Ishmael. They are not a problem. Sure, they come and descend from a group of people that have learned many ways of being a problem to the people of Israel, but in God's goodness, he redeems them, and they are not a problem any longer, and they become the closest friends and help to the people of God, and even to the non-believing Jews today. Even in the army, even in the military, they become some of the most useful elements of the military, being able to infiltrate and do what's right finally. So God has ways of redeeming people, though they come out of a situation of affliction. Don't think once that the Arab people are worthless people. Don't think once that the Arab people are just a mistake. No, they're not. They are the descendants of man's mistake, but they can be redeemed like everyone else. And so they become a perfect picture of the gospel to the rest of the world. God takes man's mistakes and he redeems them. So they're not a picture of God's judgment or of man's problem. They're a picture of how God hears us when we cry out to him in our affliction and he brings redemption. It's exactly what the name of Ishmael means. The Lord hath heard thy affliction. Verse 12, and he will be a wild man. So personally, yes, he becomes a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spoke unto her, Thou, God, seest me. Oh, very interesting. In the Hebrew text, you can see it says, Atal el Rai. She's saying, you, God, see me. So, God sees as we call out. God sees in our affliction. It's exactly actually what Abraham's going to say in a few chapters. He's going to say, Jehovah Jireh, which is the same root word here, Rai. It's Roe is that root word, and then to put it into future tense, that command sense, the jire, he will provide. He will see what's going on. Not only does he see, as she declares here in the middle of the affliction, but he will see, is what we'll find out later on. Continuing. This will turn into a sermon if I don't keep going. Thou, God, seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that sees me? Wow. She's amazed that she had this chance to talk to God. This angel was God that she talked to. Wherefore, the well was called Be'er Lahai Roi, because of the well of him that sees. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Avram a son, and Avram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. Because Shema, he heard. God hears. And Avram was 86 old, so he was 86 when Hagar bare Ishmael to Avram. Amen.